I'm here with the legend himself, guys. Dan Bilzerian, man. Thank you, man, so much for coming on. Appreciate that greatly, inviting us to your lovely home. For you guys that are unaware, we did an interview with him last year. It was fucking awesome. But Dan, for those that live under a rock, can you please introduce yourself to the people?
Well, I guess I got well known in 2013 for kind of just putting my lifestyle out there, you know, and so it was kind of a social experiment that went really fucking haywire.
And we were talking about social media earlier about how things have like changed so much where it's like on one end it's great because you're able to build your own platform without needing Hollywood or the music industry or whatever, but on the other end, you know, we got a lot of people that are morons that are getting famous off of just being idiots, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think the upside is that it gives people a voice.
Yeah.
I think the downside is that people will just kind of do whatever they can do to get that voice, and so you get a lot of, I don't know, man, I see these like prank videos, just people just acting like jackasses, like stuff that should get you fucking your ass beat, like back in our day, is like what these guys are doing on a daily basis, and they're getting away with it, and it's kind of like influencing the culture to be fucking retarded.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of just get famous by whatever means necessary.
Mm-hmm. So you blew up because you had these really cool videos of you like just living the lifestyle and the dream that most guys wish they could have. We're talking yachts, mansions, shooting guns, hot girls, you know, driving fast cars. What made you say, you know what, man, I'm gonna get on Instagram, show people my lifestyle, and let them know what's out there and what's possible?
So it started as like a social experiment. I mean, it was basically like, let's see what we can fucking do with this. Like I had made a bunch of money and I wanted to do the bucket list shit. And yeah, we just captured it and it kind of just went off the fucking rails. I mean, it was one of those things where it started off as like, you know, people fucking started knowing who I was. And then it was all of a sudden like every corner of the earth, like people were fucking asking for photos and it was just, yeah, just spiraled out of control.
Yeah, I mean, you've been on Instagram for a while and you have a huge following now. It's like, what, 33 million or something like that?
Yeah, 32 something.
Yeah. So, and obviously you've been going on for a while. What would you say is like helped you grow so quickly on Instagram?
I think I was just being unapologetic back when nobody else was doing that. I was like the first person to really like push the boundaries.
Yeah.
And so when you don't have a boss and when you don't give a fuck what anybody says and you kind of like, you know, you're also doing a lot of hedonistic stuff, which is what I was doing at the time. I mean, I think it appeals to people. It's kind of like, I don't know, everybody's fucking like dream life, or so they would think, you know, all the pleasure spikes. And yeah, documented it, did it for a fucking long time. And now I'm kind of, you know, just over it.
You're over it? Like, when did you kind of say, man, this shit's annoying? Like, I'm tired of the you know, this whole fame thing and girls and boats and everything else like that. What made you say, you know what, man, this is getting old. I'm going to...
Well, I got burnt out in 2016. Then I got a girlfriend for a year. And then we kind of went back into it for Ignite. And I think towards the end of Ignite, like 2019-ish, or end of like Ignite pre-COVID, I just felt like I was a fucking sign-spinning monkey. You know, I was like a rat on a fucking treadmill. And I kind of felt like I had to keep doing this stuff for the brand and whatever, but I was kind of over it. Like I just done everything. And with Ignite, we kind of like came back and did everything like on a fucking way higher level. Mm-hmm. And that was cool, but I just, like I said, man, I got over it. You know,
Yeah.
I was like just doing the same shit all the time. And you can only fuck, I mean, I had a bad sex addiction, you know, it's just fucking girls 3-4 times a day, every day. It's like.
Can you tell us about, like, because, you know, you've talked about that in your book. Can you tell us, like, how that came to be and then how you got over it?
The sex addiction?
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, it's just like I mean, pleasure seeking is like dopamine spikes, right? And dopamine's addictive, so you want to feel good, it makes you feel good. It's kind of something that I think gets ingrained from a perceived lack, and I think when I was younger I had a perceived lack of girls, and so, yeah, I just fucking went way the other direction.
Yeah. Now, you've been doing it for a while, and actually you just launched a program, Sigma Society, and you kind of give guys like the blueprint on, you know, how to be attractive, how to get girls, and we've had discussions on this as well. But I think this is something that's definitely needed, especially in today's like dating marketplace. What would you say is like some of the biggest mistakes that guys make when it comes to like getting girls and maintaining that attraction?
Well, it's twofold. There's like what mistakes they do going into interactions, and then there's the mistakes that they make in the relationships. And I think both things were frustrating for me. I was watching my friends in these relationships where they had just lost all their power, and they're just getting bitched around or like kissing ass to a girl that's way fucking beneath them. And then I see a lot of guys getting blown out in the initial interaction because they go in and they just massively over-communicate interest. And I think that's probably the biggest mistake that guys make. And that's kind of what they're told. That's what Hollywood tells them. That's like kind of the accepted thing is to go up to a girl, give her a bunch of compliments. And the problem with that is it puts her in a position of like, okay, I know I can have this guy. Do I want him? And when you're looking at something through that lens, all the flaws magnify and it just makes a thing less appealing. And I think guys, they just make that mistake and they don't know any better.
Yeah, and I was able to look at like some of your stuff, which thank you for the access to some of it. And you're real big on like telling guys like, hey, to overcome the anxiety, you want to kind of approach it from an indirect perspective. Would you say anxiety and fear of rejection is like most guys' biggest issue when it comes to talking to women?
Yeah, I think it's a big problem. And I think when you go in and take more of an indirect approach where you're not over communicating interest, you don't set yourself up for rejection, right? Like if you go in and tell a girl how beautiful she is, or you ask her out on a date, or you ask her for a number, it's kind of like a binary response. She either has to accept or reject, and usually women's default setting is to reject. So I think that,
even if they like you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, they're just used to it, and then they expect the guy to chase, and then eventually they'll, whatever, but they keep the guy chasing, and that's what these books, like The Rules and all these, books that these women have, it teaches them to do is to keep the guy chasing. And that just puts them in a massive position of power because their flaws disappear and that guy's flaws magnify. And I just don't want to see guys in that position because it's unnecessary. Like you can go in, you can open the interaction, you can start talking to a girl without letting her know. Like it's like playing poker. These guys just like want to fucking flip their cards over. It's like a lot harder to fucking win in poker when nobody can see your fucking cards.
You mentioned something that's very interesting about the rules and girls reading books. I think this is something that needs to be talked about more. Like guys don't understand that like women actually like read books and practice this crap. Like they don't like a lot of guys go in clueless, but like girls, number one, they already deal with men all the time. And then number two, a lot of them talk to each other about this very thing and there's books on it. Like, can you talk about that a little bit? Like how educated women really are when it comes to like finessing men, dating them, extracting value without necessarily giving value back?
Yeah, I mean, to give the poker analogy again, it's like, women are playing poker and they're just seeing everybody's cards. Well, you get better at poker if you knew everybody's fucking card and then you saw every time somebody's bluff. You know what I mean? You just learn faster. And I feel like that's what happens to women. Like from the time they're like 13, 14 years old, like all these guys are hitting on them, communicating interest, letting them know like, hey, I want to sleep with you. And when they do that, then it's like, okay, they correlate all these things the guys do with a guy wanting to sleep with them. So they're just more socially calibrated. And the way I would, explain it for a guy is it's like the guy just goes in the gym, sees a heavy bag and starts hitting the heavy bag. Well, if you hit a heavy bag for 10,000 hours, you're not going to be a fucking great boxer. But if you get some fucking coaching and some training and you spend fucking 100 hours, you're going to be better than that guy that spent 10,000 hours just drilling in all the fucking bad techniques and all the wrong shit. I think that's what guys do is like, and it's good to have volume. Like it's good to just get out there and fucking do this stuff. But if you don't do it correctly, you're just, your chances of success are going to fucking go down dramatically. And that's true of anything. Fucking golf, I just don't understand why guys will take fucking direction with golf and fucking badminton or ping pong or whatever the fuck ever, chess. They get coaching for everything other than the most important thing that they're fucking doing, which is, choosing their fucking lifelong partner or the girl that they're dating or whoever you're spending the most time with, and that's going to be your girlfriend, your wife, whatever, or somebody you have kids with and now you're stuck with them whether you like it or not for the next 18 fucking years. That's like a pretty important thing. And I feel like guys just assume like, oh, like I got this or I know what the fuck to do, and they just don't.
Yeah, they don't, and it's even worse because like you mentioned all those hours. Like if you mentioned like practice all these hours with bad technique, it's gonna like set in, and it's way harder to unlearn a bad habit than to learn a new one.
Yeah, like taking a guy that's never done any fucking boxing and just teaching them proper technique from the start is easier than like having them unlearn all the mistakes that they've been making. So, well, I think a guy that goes out and just, has a bunch of experience is going to be better off than a guy that doesn't do anything. I'm just saying, like, there's a version where you can learn the right thing to do and then put in fucking time and get there a lot faster. I'm all about, like, doing the least amount of effort and getting the most amount of volume in the shortest period of time possible. And it's like, I want them to have as many positive interactions as possible because that's going to give them more confidence. More confidence yields better results. It's kind of like a snowball that can go in one direction or it can go the fucking other.
Yeah.
And most guys, it goes the fucking wrong direction, and then they just, convince themselves I'm not good looking, enough for women, or women don't like me, or whatever. And they're right, but the difference is like they can do something about that. And I think that's one thing that guys don't understand is like women can't really make themselves that much better looking. Like, they can do a little bit of stuff, but they're born ugly, they're kind of fucked. But guy's born ugly, he's still, like...
We can make up in other ways.
He's good.
Yeah, this
like,
is true.
Elon's not good looking. Like,
Yeah.
you know, fucking, you know, Seth Rogen's fucking ugly. Like, there's plenty of ugly guys that get a ton of pussy.
Yep.
And, you know, there's just, like, there's 12 different attraction triggers that you can fucking implement. And, like, you know, pre-selection is one that a lot of guys don't understand. That's one that I use, like... You know,
one of the best.
Yeah,
you're one of the best guys when it comes to pre-selection by far.
Buddy, I could go into a club with 2 or 3 girls that really wanted to fuck me, that I had been fucking, that were all over me, and just literally like point at other girls. They didn't even know who the fuck I was, but because hot girls were interested in me, and obviously that's not like a, you know, easily transferable one to other guys, but there's different versions of that. Like, you know, I mean, you can elicit jealousy pretty fucking easily just on your story, just making girls think about you. Like, let's say you're out at a fucking bar and you take a picture of a martini glass and your beer. You know, girls are going to wonder, like, oh, who is he with? You know what I mean? Like, and that's a pretty easy thing to do. So you don't have to have 3 girls lining up to fuck you to implement pre-selection and jealousy and a lot of things that are, like, really powerful for getting a girl to want to sleep with you.
You know, and it's interesting because not many people talk about this. You know, I mean, obviously, guys like yourself, me, we talk about this, but, like, you know, conventional dating coaches are like, just be a nice guy, take her out, blah, blah, blah. And I think nowadays, if you're not like willing to talk about these uncomfortable realities when it comes to female nature, like you're just not going to get ahead. And pre-selection is, I would argue, one of the best and strongest triggers, and it's social proof. You can't fake that.
Yeah, it's super powerful. And you got a lot of these, like, you know, male dating coaches or guys giving advice that are like super good looking guys that have never had any fucking problems, that, you know, like stuff that works for them is not going to work for the average guy. And then you have women teaching this stuff, and it's like the women are the worst.
It's comical, man.
Yeah, because they can't even tell you what they want. Like,
Yeah.
if you ask most women like what they want in a guy, and then you look at the last 5 or 10 guys they fuck, they have like almost none of these things.
Yeah.
So like they don't even know what they want. And it's not really about what they say that they want, it's what they respond to that I focused on. And so, look, I had a big sample size of girls that wanted to fuck me that I screwed it up with, and a big sample size of girls that wanted to fuck me that I also fucked. And until you have that control group, which most guys don't have, until you have that volume, you can't really run an experiment and figure out like what works and what doesn't work. And I look at, you know, dating kind of like poker. In the beginning, like, you know, everybody had theory and a lot of guys thought this was the right thing, and, you know, there's a lot of guys that agreed. Like, you know, after like 10 years, like all the best players agreed this, and this was
Absolutely.
right. And they had the supercomputers and the quants that just like figured this shit out, and then we realized like how wrong we were about certain things that we were sure of. And I think dating is similar. Like, I think there's a lot of like really bad accepted advice out there that's just dead wrong that a lot of people think is right.
Yeah, and you know, you spent quite a bit of time, well, obviously from like dealing with women throughout your lifetime, but you also spend a lot of time like compiling data for this specific program. I remember me and you talking about it almost like 2 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
you've been working on this for a while.
Well,
So,
it was harder than I thought, you know?
take us through that.
Well, just because a guy can box doesn't mean he can teach somebody how to fucking box, right? And so, like, I had to actually like break
point.
down like what would work for other guys, why things worked for me, why things didn't work for me. The big thing was figuring out the mistakes. Like, we just need to start there. Like, if guys just wouldn't make 10 of the most common mistakes, like, they would have 99% better fucking results. So, like, you know, stop making the mistakes. And also, like, small tweaks will have a massive downstream impact on, like, your success or your failure. And so a lot of this isn't necessary. In fact, you know, it's not necessarily like putting in more effort. In fact, a lot of times it's putting in less effort to get a better result. Because a lot of guys correlate this with like business, where it's like, I put in a bunch of effort, I get a promotion, I show up at fucking 3 a.m. and change my buddy's tire, I have his back in a fight, like he's gonna be a better friend, like all this stuff, which is true. But all that effort that you put into a girl before you fucked her actually cuts against you.
I agree with, bro. I've always told guys, it's like putting a bunch of sweat equity and time into a girl a lot of the times is actually one of the few endeavors where it's counterproductive.
It's 100% counterproductive.
Yeah.
Like almost unequivocally. I mean,
Yeah.
this is not like in a long-term relationship, right? Like this is before you fuck the girl.
Yeah.
The more effort that you put in absolutely will cut against you.
Yeah.
And people just like don't value what they can have very easily. And if you're fucking chasing after a girl, if you're putting in a ton of effort, you are in that category of somebody that she can fucking have. She knows that she can have you with very little effort because you're the one putting in the effort. 2 people can't fucking chase. Only one person can chase. And so in the relationship, somebody's always pursuing. And, you know, I just fucking don't want the guy chasing after the girl so hard that she can never chase after him.
You mentioned something really interesting in one of your videos when I was watching, where when guys are chasing, they're almost like in tunnel vision. And when they're in this tunnel vision, they're not necessarily looking at like their mistakes. They're so focused on pursuing the girl and like getting laid that they're not even looking at the behaviors that they're demonstrating to chase after the girl. Can you talk about that in a little bit more detail? Why that tunnel vision is so bad?
It puts them in a bad frame. And this is the frame that most guys go into it from, is like, this girl's hot, how do I get her? And what that frame is this girl's looks are enough. I'm gonna do whatever I can do to get this girl just based on the fact that she's hot. And most girls do not value the things that they didn't have to work for. She didn't have to work for the fact that she's hot, right? So a hot girl sees a guy pursuing her, and automatically, like anybody pursuing you, anybody that's working hard to get your, attention or respect or whatever, is by default beneath you. Like, you're not trying to fucking impress the janitor.
Yeah.
You're not trying to impress somebody that you don't feel like is better than you.
Yep.
So just by framing the interaction like that, and especially early in the interaction, when these guys go up and over-communicate interest before the girl has earned it in any way, shape, or form based on like who she is, and it's just based on her looks, automatically she's going to look at this guy as like, okay, he's not very discerning, he doesn't have a lot of options, like me being cute is enough, I can have him, do I want him? And that's not the fucking spot that I want these guys going in, especially with hot girls. Because like the hotter the girl, the more motherfuckers that are pursuing her. And when you've got 10 options...
And they're ruthless too.
Yeah, when you got 10 options...
You can't make as many mistakes with a hot chick as you could with like a mid or an ugly girl. Like you make one stupid mistake with a hot girl and you're done.
Yeah, because like think of a dating show. If you have fucking 10, 20 options, like you're not going to go for the first fucking one. You're going to sit back and be like, okay, I know I can have all 20 of these. Which one do I want? And that's usually the position that a hot girl's in.
Yeah.
And what I want the guy to do is get the girl in a position of like, oh, maybe I might lose this guy. This guy has other options. Other women want him. I want to compete. Just think about like an auction. Like your mentality in an auction is very different than when a traveling salesman shows up at your fucking doorstep and tries to sell
analogy.
you,
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck he wants to sell you.
Great analogy.
Like when somebody tries to sell you, you're looking at what's wrong with the fucking thing. Let's say a business deal, all your buddies are getting into a business deal and there's like, the fucking thing is closing and like, you just want to get in. Like, how do I get in? And that's the way you want a woman looking at you is like, I don't want to lose this guy. He's got other women pursuing him. Not like, and another thing that guys do is they over communicate, their availability. They tell the girl, they over assure the girl, like, you're the only girl that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
They do that all the time.
Stupid
It's
as
like,
fuck.
yeah, just because like that's what they want to hear, but that's not what's going to be effective with the girl. And so a lot of these guys like think like, okay, if this is what I would want to hear, that's what the girl would want to hear. And you're not in the same fucking position as a hot girl. Unless you're like a super fucking famous celebrity, and even then your mindset's different because the girl wants to like date a guy, the guy wants to fuck the girl. Like, don't try and think like, oh, just because if for me, it'll be true for her. That's just fucking wrong.
That's such a great point. You sitting there and saying like you're the only girl I'm talking to is like not the same as her saying that to you. Like it's her job to not be a slut. It's your job to be attractive, and if you're a slut by definition, whatever, who cares, right? As a guy.
it's just a very different thing. It's like the whole lock and key analogy, right? Like the fucking key that opens a bunch of locks is a good key. The fucking lock that gets open all the keys is a shitty lock, right? So like because women have the choice, it's a very different thing. Like, if a girl's, been fucked by 100 guys, it fucking massively lowers her value.
Yep.
If a guy's had sex with 100 girls, it means that he's desirable, he's confident, he's probably decent in bed. Like, it says a lot of good things.
He's done something right.
It says a lot of good things, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's one of those things where you just have to understand the difference in psychology between a woman and a man, and like this whole culture is pushed like everything is equal, men and women are the same. It's just like, and that fucks up guys' mentality. Like they kill masculinity. They're like doing all these things, which I think is another reason why men are having such a fucking bad time in the dating market, is because they're being programmed with all the shit that's like counter to the fucking truth, which is like masculinity's bad, like women want the super nice guy,
equal partners.
It's just all bullshit.
Stupid shit.
It's just all bullshit. That's why like the fucking girl is not always dating the fucking nice guy. There's like a line full of them at every fucking Walmart that are invisible to women. Like they don't want what they say that they want. They want the guy that's like, interesting, that they might not be able to get, the guy that's, going to be exciting. Like that's the things that girls go after. Like, and you see it in some movies. You see it in like the bullshit rom-coms where they're just like, put the gay guy in there and like shows up with the flowers and the fucking chocolates and gets the girl, which is just like absolute nonsense. But then sometimes there's more accurate depictions where like the girl ends up falling for the bad boy. And if you look at like the qualities that the bad boy has, that's something that's attractive to most women. So that's like one thing that Hollywood got right. But like most guys don't ever try and like, take on those qualities. They take on the qualities of like the main character, the fucking super nice guy that ends up with the girl, but that's just like, that's not how the real world works.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how popular media, movies, television, etc., Like, they're just basically telling guys, yeah, be cucks and you'll get girls. And it's like, no, dude, that's not how it works. It's crazy to me how counterproductive mainstream media is with, like, telling guys how to actually be attractive. Because what it takes to be actually be attractive shows, like, unflattering realities about women that people don't want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, and you see it in the dating market, right? Like, back 50 years ago, like, the average guy got an average girl and everything was decent. And, like, it's like, you know, the same thing with wealth. Like, all these things have just been so polarized. Now it's like 5% of guys get all the girls, and the rest of the guys have, like, fucking no shot.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt like I should do this, because I felt like there were so many guys just, like, quitting.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you next. Like, what made you, like, want to do this?
You know, there's a guy I was, like, playing video games with, kind of fucking nerdy dude, didn't get a lot of pussy, like, didn't work out, like, all this shit, and I just kind of, like, took him under my wing and, like, got him on HRT, got him in the fucking gym, like, got him to stop smoking weed, and now he's, you know, got a girlfriend, and she's fucking pregnant, and he stopped smoking weed, he's working out all the time, like, his entire life fucking changed.
Off you just giving him some tips.
Yeah, I didn't have to do that much, you know, just to, like, kind of, like, point him in the right direction, like, stop him from doing the same fucking mistakes that all these other guys make.
I know you mentioned this guy last time we spoke.
Yeah.
Cool. So you guys are still talking.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, he just got a girl pregnant, and he's, like, in a serious relationship, he's happy, yeah, it's crazy. So.
And you were like, you know what, I need to scale this out and help more guys.
Well, I just felt like nobody was giving them the right information.
Yeah.
There was just so much bad information.
There's a lot, dude.
You know, it's like you fucking get a bad map.
Because they censor you when you give this good information out. They'll say you're a misogynist. They'll ban you off TikTok. Me and you were talking about TikTok earlier.
Yeah, I mean, that's a part of it, but I also feel like there's not a lot of guys that have figured this out. Like, you really have to, like, go out there and just, like, you know, figure out what works and what doesn't work, and the only way to do that is to have a big sample size. And I feel like a lot of these, like, male dating coaches, like, they have a lot of theory and, like, stuff sounds good, but, like, these guys don't get a lot of pussy.
Facts.
You know
they're
what I
not
mean? Like,
outside.
they're not. Like, you know, you have to fuck, like, hundreds or thousands of girls to figure this shit out, you know? It's kind of like one of these things where, since there is no fucking roadmap, there is no, like, established, like, right directions and wrong directions, everybody kind of, like, starts from fucking zero. Well, actually, now they don't start from zero. Back in our day, we started from fucking zero. Like, now they start fucking, you know, from, like, a negative 50.
Yeah.
Because, like, they've been programmed with all this bad shit. So they have to, like, unlearn all the bad shit. And then, only then are they starting off at fucking baseline, coupled with the fact that women expect way more now. Like, they have these, like, crazy fucking delusions of what they deserve or what's, like, you know, what's an average guy? Like, just like what they think is normal or average is so fucking skewed.
When I ask girls, how much money do you think an average guy makes on our show? Almost every time, $100,000 a year. Fucking crazy, bro. Like, the average guy is only making, like, 30 to 50K, depending on where they live. But, like, the average girl thinks the average guy is making $100,000 per year, which lets you know, like, a lot of these chicks, like, expect a lot off rip.
Yeah, and the problem is they go out there and they fuck all these 5% guys, and then they end up just, like, settling for some rich guy that's going to take care of them, and the rich guy thinks, like, he got this great girl, and the girl's, like, just with him so he'll pay her fucking bills because she feels like she can't get one of these 5% guys to actually date her. So it's just, like, automatically that interaction sucks. And one of the things that I tell guys, like, you want to make a girl want to fuck you. There's girls that want to fuck guys, there's girls that want to date guys, and there's a combination, right? And I want guys in the bucket of, like, the girl wants to date me and she also wants to fuck me.
Yep.
Or just that she wants to fuck me and then you can make her want to date you.
There you go. Yep.
But, like, the category that you absolutely don't want to be in is the category of, like, she wants to date me but she doesn't want to fuck me.
Yeah.
Because those are the guys that get taken advantage of.
Absolutely. And that's, guys, this is important shit, man. And I'm glad that we're, like, rehashing this, because you have to, like, drill this in the guy's head, like, so many times. Because right now, there's somebody watching that probably doesn't get sex from his girlfriend or his wife or his fiance. Like, she stopped fucking him, and he's just letting her, like, I'm still going to marry her. It's like, no, dude, like, you're literally setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like, the biggest manipulation tactic ever. If a girl's ever just, like, you know, using her pussy or blowjobs or something as, like, a tool to get what she wants, like, you're already in a fucking horrendous position. And I think a lot of guys don't realize, like, how they get in this position. It's like small little battles lost. You know, it's like there's this fucking war for power going on, and small victories and small fucking defeats add up. And these guys, you know, they'll just cave, or they'll be like, oh, you know, happy wife, happy life. Like, let me just appease the wife. And it's like they appease them, into the point where, like, the girl loses respect for the guy and then cheats on him, and the guy just gets blindsided, has no idea where it came from. And I see that a lot, where these women, they just, like, subconsciously, like, lose, you know, respect for the guys over time, and then the guy is just so surprised when she cheats on him. He's like, but I was such a good boyfriend, and I never cheated on her. I always told the truth, and I was there for her, and I did this, and I did that. And it's just like, you know, when you
when you make too many sacrifices for a woman, they become expected and not appreciated. And a lot of guys end up in this category where they're just making more and more sacrifices, trying to win the girl's approval, and that's just actually subconsciously driving her away because she's never having to invest in the guy. She's never having to like do anything for the guy. So it just puts her in a constant state of like, okay, I know I can have this guy. Do I want him? And then she's looking for other options versus like when she's wondering, what's this guy doing? You know, like, you know, how do I get him to stop talking to this other girl? Like, you know, I want to make him, you know, mine. Like, I don't want him talking to other girls. Like all this stuff that makes her want to work for the guy. And the more you work for something, the more you value it. And I think a lot of guys are in these relationships where the woman isn't working for the guy at all.
Yeah.
And when you're in that spot, like I said, you don't really value things you don't work for.
Would you say that's the number one reason why women cheat? Because obviously a lot of girls have like cheated on their boyfriends with you, and you found out after the fact. Like, would you say that's like one of the top reasons why girls cheat?
I mean, it always starts with he was so nice, but. So I would say.
Fucking terrible.
I would say being bored. I think a lot of women get bored in a relationship. A lot of women like know that the guy's never going anywhere, that he doesn't really have any other options. Like he's completely invested. Not that that's like a bad thing. Is that, you know, to be dedicated to a woman. But be dedicated to a woman because you like her, not because you don't have other options.
Yeah.
You know,
you're choosing her versus you're just settling what you can.
Settling, yeah, exactly, for the low-hanging fruit. And I think a lot of guys end up in that spot. And if you're not willing to fucking walk, you're never going to have power. And I think a lot of these guys are not willing to walk.
Yeah, that's very true. So you've been compiling data for this program for almost 2 years. What are some of the things, like one of the most shocking data points that you've realized from compiling? I know you got like Excel sheets, split tests that you ran, etc. What are some of the craziest data points that you would say you found out?
I mean, there's so many, but I think the most important overarching thing was just the difference in pursuing versus being pursued. And I know that sounds very basic, but it's twofold. Like I said, when you're pursuing a girl, your flaws magnify and her flaws disappear. When she's chasing you, your flaws disappear and her flaws magnify. So I think a lot of these guys get focused on like looks maxing and all this stuff, but they forget about the fact that they're not aware of the fact that when a woman is chasing them, their flaws are gone. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really matter that they're not that tall, or they're not that rich, they're not this, or they're not that. Yeah. And I've seen it on the flip side where, like, you know, my buddy, he was, you know, 6'1", worth $500 million. You know, we'd had fucking orgies together. He's fucked tons of chicks. Like, he's smart. He's good. All these things, like everything the guys think they need. But because he was over pursuing girls, he'd run them right the fuck off. Shit. So, like, I know for a fact that, you know, you could have all the stuff that guys think that you need and still have bad results if you do the wrong thing. And I think that you don't need a lot of those attraction triggers if you do the right thing to have good results. And I saw that, you know, in college. There was guys that were like, you know, broke, fat, ugly, whatever, and they were fucking a lot of chicks, but they were doing the right things.
Yeah. Would you say, if you pursue, I mean, if you can quantify it, that'd be awesome if you can. But like, would you say that when you pursue a girl, your chances of getting her are actually like what, 50% less, or would you be fair to say maybe you like got like double the chance of closing the deal if she's chasing you? Like,
well,
how significant of a difference do you think it makes?
It's super significant, but it's not just on closing. It's then like the entire relationship going forward. Okay. Like how much she invests in you, how much she chases you, is gonna fucking lay the foundation of the relationship. Yeah. You know, like if a girl's chased you for a while, like she's going to value you more, subconsciously and consciously. Like it's you know, it's unavoidable. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, if you fucking spent 7 years saving up for a Ferrari, you're going to value it a lot more than if you just were fucking handed it to, you know, on your 16th birthday. Like, you're going to be happy both times, but like that happiness is going to fade a lot faster as a 16-year-old that never had to work for it versus if you've been working for this thing your whole fucking life. And so, obviously, that's an extreme example, but if a woman has been, you know, putting in effort and chasing a guy, when she finally ends up with that guy, she's going to really value him. She's not going to want to lose him, and she's going to be way less likely to cheat on him. She's more likely to, like, you know, want to please him, want to make him happy, and then just the whole relationship is better. Yeah. Versus when the guy pursues, and the girl decides, like, okay, you know, I can't do better. Like, I'll take this guy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, we'll settle for this, as opposed to, like, getting what you want.
And I love the analogy you gave where, if you're a door-to-door salesman and they come to you, you're looking at it like, okay, what's the issue with this product? They're coming to me. Yeah. Versus if you're bidding on something and there's a bunch of other people bidding, like you're willing to go, well, 1,000, well, I'll do 2,000, well, I'll do 3,000, well, I'll do 3,500. And you don't even know if the product is going to be as good, but you just want to go ahead and win and beat these other people out. And I think that speaks to female nature as far as them being competitive, want to beat other girls out. So your flaws aren't highlighted like if you're selling it to her with like a door-to-door salesman. which is a great analogy.
Yeah, and I figured that out. And like I said, it sounds simple.
Because women look to disqualify.
Yeah.
Like I've always said that. Like when you meet a girl, she's looking to like find a reason to not fuck with you.
Yeah.
So that's like a perfect analogy. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it sounds simple, but it has such a fucking profound impact. And like, you know, there's 7 different ways to trigger a girl to chase you.
I was going to ask you that next.
So
the
like,
7 things.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we talked about a couple of them, like pre-selection, jealousies, things like that. But it's, you know, it's just very, very fucking important because the framing this, and that's why I say like indirect a lot of times is better than direct approach. And a lot of guys think like direct approach is just, you know, the way to do it and whatever. But they really put themselves at a disadvantage.
You got to know what you're doing to be direct. I'll be like, I like direct, but I see why indirect is good for guys that have anxiety or they're nervous or like, you know what I mean? It's kind of, it allows them to at least talk to the girl. Because so many guys puss out like, oh,
Yeah.
and they don't do it. So indirect is a great way to kind of get in there, get the interactions, get the reps up without like putting your balls on the line.
Yeah, I mean, direct, you just have to like have more attraction built. So the better looking you are, the more effective that's going to be. The more confident you are, the more effective that's going to be. And also you have to like, you know, you have to tease it a little bit too. Like you can't just pour on the, you know, you can be direct and then you can, you know, fuck with it a little bit, push, pull. Like it's a little bit more finesse. Whereas indirect, you kind of like get in there, you're having a conversation, you don't have the chance of being rejected, so you're just more relaxed. She's also wondering a little bit like, you know, is this guy interested in me? You get to, you know, introduce jealousy along the way. Like you get to build attraction a little bit slower and it's more at your pace. I mean, direct is good for saving time, like I said, like
Facts.
But at the same time, you know, you have to have some attraction built and you have to be more confident and you have to be okay with being rejected more often.
Yeah. You talk a lot about like logistics and the setup, which I think is fucking so important that people don't talk about. Like, you know, they're just like, yeah, just go here and do this and it's going to work every single time. But I don't think enough people put emphasis on logistics and social proof and how important that is in like setting things up for wins. What's your take on that?
I mean, I think it's super important. I mean, if you set, you know, like anything in life, you set yourself up for success, you set yourself up for failure. And if you're, you know, if you're trying to get laid and you're going out, you know, boating or whatever, and you invite 10 girls and there's, you know, a few guys and there's 10 girls, they're just going to be competing for your attention a lot more than if it's 10 guys and 2 girls and all the guys are fucking hitting on the girls and they get, you know, plenty of attention and all these guys are, you know, indicating their interest. And it's just like, I've seen both situations. So you can just like set yourself up to have a lot, you know, higher chance of success, or you can set yourself up to, you know, have a fucking high chance of failure. And I think there's a lot of other examples other than just the ratios, but that's one that's pretty fucking obvious.
Ratio is so important, man. Like, I don't think enough people understand. I remember when I used to like go to clubs or do any type of night game, if I walked in and the ratio was fucked up, I would just leave. Because it's like, a lot of times, if the ratio isn't good, like the girls are already going to have a highlighted ego, like based on that particular sexual marketplace. So it's like, you're going in kind of with the chips down, right? Especially if you don't have a section or whatever, and it just goes to show how important it is to meet the girl under certain pretenses. Because like, for us, like we meet a hot girl in the grocery store, we don't give a shit, she's hot, right?
Yeah.
But like for girls, it's like, they want to have like almost a story of how they met you and like have a cool how do I say it? Like a cool backstory of how they met you. They want that romantic meeting.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to like cheat the system too. Like if you've got a girl that is in the friend zone for you or whatever that you fucked it up with, just, you know, go out with her. You're with a hot girl. Nobody knows if you're fucking her or not. You know what I mean? Like, and just the fact that you're with a hot girl makes you, you know, safer, makes you kind of vouch for like all these things. So there's ways to kind of cheat the system if you're not getting a lot of pussy. And, you know, and then if you have a lot of money too, I mean, you could hire a girl. My buddy, I got him what I call the biographer. I like had him hire this girl that I knew and I like trained her on what to do. And so her job when they went out was basically to like go up to hot girls, start a conversation. The girl would be like, oh, you know, who are you here with? Oh, I'm here with my friend, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then she starts like bragging about the guy, like talking him up. And the girl's like, oh, cool. Like, you know, are you dating? And she's like, oh, you know, like he won't sleep with me. And, you know, but I think he's fucking awesome. And it's basically like she's communicating all this value for this fucking guy. You know, so like when he finally wanders in, like this girl's like, who the fuck is this guy that like is not willing to sleep with this super fucking hot girl that's like trying to sleep with him? It's just like she subcommunicates so much value that guy like almost can't fuck up the interaction, right? So there's kind of like what you say, which is what most guys do. They like brag about themselves, like talk about all this shit, which indirectly makes you chase, right? Because like, who are you going to brag to? Somebody you want to impress. Yeah. Versus like seen or told by somebody else, just like way more powerful. Like,
especially a female.
100%, because they're just used to guys trying to fucking impress them all the time.
So if a girl does it and she's attractive, and I don't think guys understand like how much women bank on like social proof. Like me and you, right? We're out, right? And you see a hot girl or I see a hot girl. Like I don't need to go to you and be like, hey Dan, you think she's hot? Like I'll just go to talk to her. Like I don't need like my buddy's approval to find a girl attractive. But like for women, it's weird. They do. So it's like she goes and talks to a guy. She might like him, but she's still gonna console with her friends. Like, hey, I met this guy. What do you guys think? And if the girls say no, even though she liked you, she might change her mind. So it's like they kind of almost lack independent thinking when it comes to what they find attractive and what they don't.
Yeah, and there's a way to hijack that thought process, which is you're already out with a cute girl. You know what I mean? Then it's like you're already vouched for. There's already a hot girl that finds you attractive that's with you, right? So now she doesn't have to ask her friends because there's already somebody that like social proofs you. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Obviously, like, you know, those are a little bit more difficult for the average guy, but there's like tons of things. So I don't know, man. Like I said, I just want to kind of like give them a blueprint of like the mistakes, the fucking right things to do, and, you know, just like a download of everything that I've learned in the last like 20-something years. All the shit that I wish that I knew when I was younger. Like, I wish that Hugh Hefner would have like fucking broken it down. You know what I mean? Like, it would have saved me so much fucking time and effort. You know?
So I'm transitioning real quick to politics, man. We were having a discussion upstairs about this. Obviously, it's an election year, so we got to talk about this. We got, as the time of this recording, we got Trump in, Kamala, the DNC pretty much, I think, is just wrapped up. What are your thoughts in general about what's going on in the political scene?
I think it's a fucking disaster. Like, I think that both parties are, you know, owned by Israel, and I think that's a fucking big problem. And I don't think that people understand how big that problem is. And it's not just about the genocide that they're committing in Palestine and the fact that we're funding it and that's making other Muslims hate us, and then we're opening the fucking borders so the people that hate us are going to come in. It's much, much bigger than that. It's if you look at the cumulative funding that we have given to Israel and the fucking net effect that that is having to Americans, it is fucking staggering. And it is the reason why quality of life 50 years ago was better than the quality of life is now for the average American. And every 50 years it's dramatically increased. And we've had technological advances, we've fucking, you know, commoditized farming. Like most guys shouldn't even have to work and have a great fucking life. But so much money has been sucked out of our fucking economy that it is actually worse now for men than it was before. And you add that with inflation.
Can't even buy a home.
Taxation, all this shit. It's a fucking brutal environment. And I don't think that, look, you look at just the aid that we gave to Israel, and it's fucking absurd. It's like $400 and something billion, you know, and then you have to like adjust for,
Number one country to give aid to.
It's absurd. And they, not only do they not do anything for us, they fuck us in the ass every time they have a chance. But it's not just the aid that we're giving them. It's all the implications of our, you know, alliance with them, if that's what you want to fucking call it, right? Like, I mean, literally Osama bin Laden's letter to America said the reason that he fucking blew up the fucking Twin Towers was because of our support of Israel.
But they lied and said it's because they hate us for our freedom.
Buddy, the moment that went on fucking TikTok, all of a sudden TikTok had to get banned. They were fucking going crazy. We needed to shut this down. Like, it was a Chinese spy app before that, and that was fucking fine. But the moment you start criticizing Israel, fucking forget about it. Now all of a sudden,
went crazy.
Shut it down, shut it down. The fucking Jews are going nuts. Like, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But that is because now you're going to fucking tie that attack to our support of Israel, which means that also another reason that we went in and fucking invaded Iraq, Netanyahu lied to Congress, told them that they had weapons of mass destruction. So you add that with Osama telling you directly the reason that he fucking did that was because of our support of Israel. So, and then you add to it, like, because of that, you know, we spent trillions of dollars on the fucking Iraq war, went into Afghanistan, did all these things literally because of that and because of our support of Israel. Then you add on top of that, we added the TSA because of that. We added the Department of Homeland Security. How much does all that fucking cost us? You know, it's not just, you know, how much we're paying each one of those fucking people. It's the fact that, like, even when they retire, we're paying them 90% of their salary or fucking 50% or whatever the fuck their retirement is forever in perpetuity for every single one of those fucking agents. So it's like the actual cost that American fucking taxpayers have fucking incurred because of our support of Israel is fucking staggering. Like the $170 billion that we sent to fucking Egypt on behalf of fucking Israel. Like, when you add
just to get
all
them
this,
to play nice.
When you add all this stuff up and then you add compound fucking interest, I mean, it's fucking tens of trillions of dollars. It's literally like enough to buy every fucking 18-year-old man a Ferrari. Like, it's enough to pay for all fucking college. It's enough to, like, buy all the homeless people a fucking home. Like, the implications of what we have fucking given them to the average American are staggering, and they just don't understand it. They're not correlating, like, our support of Israel with, like, their decline in quality of fucking life, because they don't fucking put it together. And because a lot of times when we give Israel all these arms, we depreciate them to fucking zero. So that doesn't even count in the money that we're giving them. Not to mention that we back their fucking loans. You know what I mean? With, like, co-signers and all their shit. Like, the amount of things that we do for them is fucking crazy. What do? They steal our fucking secrets. They assassinate our fucking president. They fucking lie to us and get us into fucking wars that we shouldn't be fighting. I mean, like, they do false flag attacks. They kill fucking American citizens in hopes of blaming it on, guess who? The Muslim Brotherhood. You know, just like when fucking ISIS, they just fucking killed some people, and they're like, once again, you know, fucking claiming it on behalf of Muslims. But why is ISIS only killing fucking Muslims? When the fuck is the last time ISIS ever attacked Israel?
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking bullshit. Yeah. You know, it's like false flag attack after false flag attack over and over and over again. And these Americans, I think, are finally fucking opening their eyes to it. But it might be too late, because both sides are, you know, I mean, what did Trump just say? Oh, Israel is such a fucking tiny country. It needs to be bigger. It needs to be fucking bigger. Shouldn't be there in the first place.
Yeah,
Now we want to make it bigger. We want to really fucking piss everybody off. We really need to go into fucking World War III.
Yeah.
He's saying all this shit because he's getting all this fucking funding from fucking Jewish donors that support Israel, that have dual citizenship with Israel. It's fucking absurd. So,
Mary Mandelson, 100 million, dude.
yeah, I mean, that's just a fucking, you know, drop in the bucket. I mean, how much is AIPAC giving them? I mean, how, you know, it's just like, it's just fucking nuts, man. Like, and like I said, both parties are going to fucking support this. I mean, fucking how much is, you know, the Democratic campaign giving Israel? I mean, Netanyahu tells them to go fuck themselves. He, you know, like, ignores everything they say, and we just keep sending them billions and billions and billions of dollars. It's like, and we get nothing. Not only do we not get anything for it, we piss off every single fucking person over there. And people are like, oh, well, you know, it's a buffer between us and Iran. We don't need a fucking buffer for Iran. Iran can't even fucking kill Israel. What are they going to do to us? They can't even kill their fucking greatest enemy. Like, we're worried about it. Like, what are they going to fucking launch rockets across the fucking Atlantic Ocean? Like, bullshit. Like, the whole reason the fucking Middle East is destabilized is because of Israel's presence. Like, the reason that we are fucking probably going to go into World War III is literally our support of Israel.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, it's just, but I think people are waking up.
You know, and Dan, what you're saying right now is what people have been thinking for a long time. And obviously you have a huge platform. A lot of people follow you. A lot of people love you. And you're taking great personal risks to come out with this. And it's not like you're making money off of this. I mean, I don't know if you want to go into detail about how much money you've lost for telling the truth. But can you talk a little bit about how it's been after you've come out and you've talked about these things?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was going to get fucked up. I mean, it's like obvious they fucked up every single person that talks about this. But yeah, I mean, they kicked me off illegally kicked me off the board of my company. I mean, it's cost me fucking, you know, crazy amounts of money.
Millions.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fucking extorted by, you know, Jewish ex-employees. I mean, it's just been an all-out fucking...
Piece of shit on Twitter talking about they're going to assassinate you, and we got Mossad people looking at you. Like, it's crazy, bro, because, right, you know, Andrew Tate always says this, and it's so true. Your ability to speak freely is, you know, absolutely contingent upon your influence. And you're a guy that has a lot of influence. So I can imagine why they would want to, you know, shut you down, scare you off, make you not want to say these things. Because you've known about this stuff for a while. You know, I remember you made a tweet, like, literally, like, back in, like, 2011, 2012 or something like that, saying, like, alluding to the dancing Israelis. And I was like, this guy's fucking been known about this shit for a while. What made you say, fuck it, I'm tired of this shit. I'm talking about it, even though it comes at great personal expense?
Rafah was a red line for me. It's like, you send the fucking refugees over there, you tell them they're going to be safe there, and you bomb the shit out of them. And I think it was like on Memorial Day too, and it was just like, you know, and I remember the USS Liberty, and I was a fucking Navy vet, and it was like, I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, fuck these motherfuckers. I don't give a shit what fucking happens. I'm going to say what needs to be fucking said. Yeah. You know, and that was it. So then from that point on, it was like, fuck you motherfuckers. Like, I'm not fucking half-stepping. I'm not fucking, you know, going back on this shit. Like, I am going to say what the fuck I want to say.
Yeah, no, man, and it's crazy because so many influencers are scared to talk about this shit. Like, you have private conversations with them, they're like, yeah, no, it's fucked up, man. But they'll never say this shit out loud, right, for obvious reasons, right? Like, I mean, like you just said before, people are trying to fucking kill you. They legally kicked you off your own board, a company that you fucking built from the ground up, and you put your own sweat equity into. I mean, I've seen how hard you work behind the scenes with Ignite. Obviously, these weirdos on Twitter making threats against you, people saying all kinds of shit about you. Oh, this guy's a degenerate, he's talking about this shit as if you fucking a bunch of girls is like the equivalent to like killing 10,000, 20,000 fucking kids. You know what I mean? It's wild to me. And then other people have stepped up too, right? I know you had a space with Candace recently, and Andrew and Tristan Tate. What was that like? How'd you guys set that one up?
Well, Candace set it up, and she put on a couple Jewish guys on there that I wasn't aware that they were going to be on there. And listen, all respect to Candace, she's been fighting the good fight. I really fucking like her a lot.
Yeah.
She's super fucking smart, and she's been fucking all into this. I would say the one thing I didn't like about it was there wasn't really like a real like expert on our side. I mean, I know a little bit.
Well, no, you were cooking, bro. I was in there listening, and like you were going pretty fucking hard, man. And then they'll stop you because I think they wanted to be like, oh, this guy's going a little.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely guardrails put on it. I mean, I think that in the spaces it's kind of like scoring points, and it's just one of those things where they're going to say things, and I read the Talmud word for word, but he's like he's going to say things, and then it's like we don't have an expert on our side to refute it. Then it's kind of like my word against his. It's not really like a fair debate. And also he knew he was going to come on there and debate, and so he had all of this fucking shit prepared. He knew what he was going to fucking say and whatever, and I was just kind of winging it. And I'm not a fucking politics guy, like. I'm in this because I believe in it and because I'm just going to say the right thing. I'm not in this because I'm fucking, trying to be a politician. I was never really like into politics before this. And like once I started seeing what the fuck was going on, I got pretty fucking into politics because I don't like being lied to, and they fucking lied to us during COVID. They absolutely fucking lied to us, and they pushed fucking shit that killed a lot of fucking people and fucked a lot of my friends up. Like my friend Mike Swick, he got cancer from the shit. Like literally the day after he got the vaccine, his fucking lymph nodes fucking popped up and like he had lymph node cancer. This is like one of the healthiest fucking guys I know. This guy missed her 10 minutes, could hold his breath 10 and a half minutes, world record holder. Did the fucking vaccine the very next day. His resting heart rate was normally 30 to 40 beats a minute. The next
fucking
day,
crazy.
Yeah, the next day was 100. And he was able to hold his breath for 10 and a half minutes, and the most he could do was like 8 minutes after the vaccine. Like totally
like an ultra marathoner? 30, 40 beats per minute is fucking.
That's what I'm saying. These are guys that are in like peak physical health. I mean, you've got fucking professional athletes like dropping dead at like 23 from fucking cardiac issues. Like this was never a thing, and they just like fucking sweep it under the fucking rug, like. And so when you see the government absolutely fucking lie to you and force you to do these things to your detriment, so that fucking people happen to be mostly fucking Jewish, make a lot of fucking money on this, and you start questioning shit, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, who's running shit? Why is this allowed?
Yeah. I mean, the head of Pfizer, Albert Bourla.
I mean, all dual citizenship with Israel. Fucking head of Pfizer, Moderna, fucking all this shit. Like, CDC, like, all these people.
They're all Jews.
All of them, but dual citizenship with Israel on top of it. So it's like, you start looking at, like, who's behind this shit and what's going on, and, like, they're fucking 2% of the population. Like, how the fuck are they like, 80% of the fucking, the CDC, all this bullshit, like the people in charge of this stuff.
Yeah.
How are they,
heads of YouTube, heads of Facebook, heads of Instagram, heads of.
Well, I mean, that's everything. A whole nother fucking thing. Like the statistical probability of like all these things being that like 3,500% overrepresented in all these fucking positions of power. It's just like, it's not as if it's a statistical anomaly, it's a statistical impossibility.
Yeah.
Right? So like, I think the biggest fucking threat we have is Jewish supremacy. They tried to like fucking tell us it was white supremacy, which is like the biggest fucking joke of all time.
Fucking bullshit. We could talk shit about whites all fucking day. No one's gonna give a fuck.
No.
But let's go ahead and start talking about Cohens and all, and Rubensteins, all this other bullshit.
Yeah,
canceled.
just fucking accounts shut off, fucking censored, comment section shut off. It's like, and why do they deserve all this protection? Like, they are fucking crushing it in every category. They're not persecuted, they're fucking killing it. Like in every category, the court system and the governments and fucking entertainment, like 75% of the fucking owners of the NBA, like, there's like 78% of the executives in fucking Ivy League colleges. It's like, it's so massively overrepresented in every single one of these fucking places that it's not even close. So this idea that
they kicked out the president of Harvard because
it's like fucking crazy. So like the biggest threat we have is this literal Jewish supremacy, which is like crushing freedom of speech. Like you can't protest, you can't riot against. They could riot for fucking BLM. They could burn down buildings, blow up fucking cops. They could do whatever the fuck they wanted. But the moment you criticize Israel, it's a completely different set of rules. So that should make you fucking question things.
Yeah. When did it hit you that you were like, holy fuck, the Jewish supremacy is real? Like, when did you say, these people literally will cancel you? Because I've always said myself, I genuinely believe that censorship is Jewish, right? And I've talked about the main platforms being run by them, and if you say anything about them, they'll call you anti-Semite. Boom, you're done. When did you kind of like say like, dude, Jewish supremacy is a fucking problem in the United States?
Honestly, like pretty recently. Like I knew there was some shit here or there, but like I'll be honest with you. Like when I met Kanye,
I mean, you knew about the dancing Israelis.
Yeah,
like,
I did.
over 10 years ago.
But that's like that's like one thing. You know what I mean? Like whatever. But like only in the last 4 or 5 years have they really started attacking Christianity. They've been attacking whites. They've been pushing this fucking gay shit, this LGBTQ shit, this fucking trans shit, like down your throat in every TV show and every fucking movie. You can't turn it on without seeing that shit.
Right.
You know, and so, you know, and then they're like hijacking fucking history, rewriting things. They're fucking pushing DEI and all these fucking companies. It's like, it's a literal attack at the same time that they're opening the fucking borders here and closing them in Israel.
Yeah.
And my problem is like, there's just two sets of standards. There's the standards for like what, you know, Israelis think that America should do and then what they should do in fucking Israel. And it's literally the exact opposite. Like they're owners of all the fucking online fucking porn, YouTube or YouPorn, YouJizz.
A rabbi owns it.
All of them. but then porn is illegal in Israel.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
so they
crazy.
fucking ban it there and they fucking pump it here, right? And so
And they're not pro-immigration
and
at all.
and it's illegal for same-sex marriage in Israel, but yet they fucking blast it over here.
Wow.
So there's just and then immigration, borders wide open. You know the prime minister of the fucking UK, Jewish guy, borders wide open.
Head
do
of
whatever the fuck
DHS
you want.
here is a Jew. Mayorkas is a Jew.
Yeah, but then what do they do in Israel? Shut down the fucking borders. 75% Jewish. We can't let it drop below that. It would be a fucking disaster. They've said that.
Yeah.
Right? So you start looking at like what they say and what they push on us and then what they do for themselves, and it's two completely sets of fucking directives.
No, it's absolutely true. I mean, you destabilize the Middle East, and then all these refugees, where do they go? They're not going to fucking Israel. No. They're coming to America. They're going to France. They're going to Canada. They're going to these first world countries, and we got to deal with the fucking ramifications of that. And you said something earlier that really was profound that I just like was thinking to myself. Most Americans, including myself until you mentioned it, we don't even think about all the costs that come after the fact. Like you talked about the war on terror and how that costs us money just to obviously fight the war, but then all the jobs that came from it, all the problems that came after.
Trillions of dollars just for Iraq. Just for Iraq. And how many fucking Israelis went over there and fought their fucking war? Fucking zero. When are they ever sending us troops? When are they ever fucking doing anything for us? Like literally never. Yet we fight all their fucking wars.
That's fact.
So, I mean, you just look at this fucking supposed allegiance and it's just nonsense. It's like literally we're their bitch.
I watched your interview with Patrick from Valuetainment. And, you know, and I like Patrick a lot. But obviously, you know, he's got to stay neutral to a degree on certain topics, especially a hot button topic like this. And he mentioned the 40 beheaded babies and, you know, all the other things that allegedly happened on October 7th. And you fired back right away, like it's not true, right? It's all a lie. And I really appreciate that you said that because most people wouldn't have the balls to say that because it's such a touchy subject. But like, you know, we had covered like, dude, they lied so much on October 7th. It's wild. They talked about the mass rapes. They talked about babies getting beheaded. They talked about babies getting burned, etc. But the reality is, like, I think only 2 infants were killed. Not to say that that's good, but they created all these lies for shock value to rationalize going into Gaza. And then another fact that I found out that was wild is that, like, the Hamas tried to go ahead and actually try to negotiate with them, like on October 10th or something like that, for them not going to Gaza, and we're going to give them all the fucking hostages. And Netanyahu said no, and he said, we're just going to bomb you guys anyway. So I don't think it's about the hostages. What's your thoughts on that?
It's fucking never been about the hostages. Like, they knew about the attacks. They let it out. Like, they want the fucking land. They already had plans for that land. Like,
Greater Israel.
Yeah,
it's on your patch.
I know. It's fucking
It's wild, right?
Like, it's just like the emperor's not wearing any clothes, and nobody wants to fucking tell him. Well, I'm going to fucking tell him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just tired of this shit. Like, I'm just tired of these, like, lies being fucking force-fed down our throat. And, like, look, I get it, you know, it costs you a lot of money and fucking, you know, like pumping Israel is good for business. I just don't give a fuck. Like, yeah. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. I've had all the fucking material shit. I've had all the fucking girls and bitches and guns and cars and fucking jets and everything else. I've had all of it and I don't give a fuck. Like, I still got it. I got a fucking jet. Had the motherfucker for 10 years. I do whatever the fuck I want. Like, But for me, like, doing what the fuck is right is more important than all that fucking shit. Because, you know, you could have a flashy fucking watch and you could have a nice car and all this shit, but when you look in the mirror and you realize you're a fucking bitch, like, what good is all that?
No, that's so true. I mean, people don't put a price on the ability to be able to sleep at night and be proud of who the fuck you are. You know, guys are okay with like shilling for Israel, etc. What would you? So let's say you were president tomorrow, Dan. You get power. You are now supreme leader of the United States. What are the things that you're going to implement? Because we all know that 2024, it's an election year. It's a fucking shit show right now. I mean, you got Trump, you got Kamala. Kamala obviously is a terrible candidate. But what would you do if Dan Bilzerian was the president of the United States?
Well, first thing I would do is probably lock myself in a bomb shelter so that I could survive for at least 2 months. You know, I mean, I would cut all ties with Israel. I'd make them a sovereign nation where they could, you know, fucking defend themselves. They want to be fucking assholes. They want to blow up embassies. They want to fucking kill fucking UN workers. They want to fucking do all this bullshit.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
And they will fucking pay for their consequences. You know, just, they'll have consequences.
So you wouldn't even try to broker a two-state solution, get Netanyahu out. You'd be like, you know what? No, you guys are on your own.
You motherfuckers have fucked us in the ass for so long. You're on your own. Fucking enjoy yourself. Okay. That would be my solution.
Damn, they'll be gone in 24 hours after that.
Oh, fucking well.
Yeah, they'll be gone.
Yeah, so, I mean, listen, and that's the fucking way it works, man. Like, you know, in life, you fucking make decisions and you fucking pay for them. You know, like, they just haven't had to pay for any of the fucking decisions. So they just do whatever the fuck they want. To me, like I said, they're like a little brother that just goes and kicks the big brother in the nuts, and the fucking dad, which is the USA, comes in and punishes the big brother. Big brother's like, what the fuck did I do? I just got kicked in the nuts. The little brother's like, oh, he attacked me. He did this, he did that. And he goes back, kicks him in the nuts again, runs to the fucking dad. Well, you know, eventually the big brother's going to get tired of that shit, you know? And it's like the amount of fucking patience that these fucking Palestinians have had is fucking crazy to me, you know? Like, everybody looks at this and it's just like, it's shocking to me, like, what they've put up with. And like, October 7th was their retaliation. They come in on fucking, like, little fucking, you know,
piece of shit gliders.
Yeah, like, kills some people. I mean, honestly, like, the fucking Israelis probably kill more people than fucking Hamas. I mean, they're shooting fucking Hellfire missiles. They're attacking with Apache helicopters, shelling fucking houses with tanks. Like, this is on video. This is not like maybe. Like, the Hannibal Directive is like, okay, if there's an Israeli in there, fucking, like, kill everybody. We don't care.
Because they don't want to deal with, like, getting the hostages back is such a political nightmare for them.
No, because they want a fucking war and they wanted a big fucking death count, which is why they fucking let them in there in the first place to fucking do this. Because they wanted it to be fucking bad and they wanted to fucking point to these like burnt cars. The only difference is like an RPG doesn't burn a car to the fucking ground. It doesn't melt the fucking frame.
These fucking guys are rockets. Yeah, they don't have that technology to even fucking do that shit, man. They got like some old fucking RPGs from the 60s and shit.
I've shot RPGs. They don't do that much.
Yeah.
They sure as fuck don't melt a car's frame to the fucking ground. So like, you know, you saw this stuff, and it's like, yeah, a lot of this stuff was done by the fucking Israeli military to their own fucking people. But, like, whatever. Like, you know, I don't know, man. I look at this, and they're just, like, continuing to whine about it after they've killed, like, 40,000 fucking women and children. It's just like, and you want, and every time it's like a plea for sympathy, well, and then they go fucking attack at the same fucking time. It's like, feel sorry for us, and they go kill a bunch of fucking innocent civilians. Feel sorry for us, kill a bunch of innocent civilians. It's like the boy that's cried wolf, like, 500 fucking times. Like,
there's an old like Russian proverb. It says something along the lines of, the Jew cries as he smacks you or as he strikes you. Yeah, well, which is literally...
That's the fucking gospel for Israel.
Yeah. You mentioned during your interview with Patrick Bet-David, which I was like impressed, you mentioned 9/11, JFK, the Lavon affair, stealing technology from us, spies, the USS Liberty. These are obviously huge betrayals of Israel to America. Which would you say is the one that is the most egregious in your opinion? Because Patrick didn't let you go into detail on any of them, and I wish he did. You would have educated a lot of people in his audience about what the fuck's going on. But
I mean, to me, every single one of them is an unequivocal act of war. It's not even close. Like, you fucking knowingly blow up and napalm a U.S. fucking intelligence vessel and fucking shoot the fucking life rafts for an hour and a half. You napalm the decks. You blow the shit out of your fucking allies after doing a couple of fucking runs to confirm that it was a U.S. fucking ship with flags flying. The troops are fucking waving at them. You know, to do that for an hour and a half. Like, we should have blown Israel off the fucking map for that. Lavon affair. They're fucking blowing up schools, cinemas, trying to kill fucking U.S. and British citizens to blame it on the Muslim Brotherhood. We should have fucking annihilated Israel for that. Like, these are unequivocal acts of war. These are fucking false flag attacks. So when they do these things, and then you've got these dancing Israelis who you fucking find out are Mossad agents who are like literally videotaping the fucking trade centers getting fucking blown up and the planes going in. So they obviously had, knowledge of this before. And then you've got Silverstein, the guy that owns the building, ensuring it right before, and then all of a sudden that's the one day of work that him and his daughter fucking missed. Like, you think that's a fucking coincidence? Israel unequivocally knew about fucking 9/11 and let that happen so that we would go fight their fucking war.
Even the guy you were debating with admitted on another space that Netanyahu, he thinks Netanyahu knew about 9/11.
He fucking knows.
He admits that shit.
He knows all this fucking shit. He's got partners and whatever, but like, he fucking knows. Credit where credit's due. He fucking put it out there.
Yeah.
Most guys wouldn't have put that interview out there,
yeah.
but he fucking put it out there. So, whatever, man. Everybody's entitled to their own fucking opinion, but, mine just happens to be fucking based on facts. And, so which is the
You can Google all this stuff, by the way, guys. Like, this is all out there.
Yeah, so which is the most egregious? I mean, I don't know. I mean, fucking killing a sitting president, I would say, would probably be fucking top of the list, but that's one that's, like, not 100% confirmed, so I don't... there's a fucking reason why Trump promised us that was going to be fucking released, the JFK files, and it's not been fucking... Do the U.S. citizens not have a right to know who killed their fucking president? Like 60 fucking 70 years... do we not have the right to know who killed our fucking president? The president that we elected? How do we not have the right to fucking know that? What could be so fucking secret other than that it was fucking Israel behind the fucking thing? And the CIA.
Something funny to tell you about that. So I had a CIA guy, Andrew Bustamante, and I actually asked him this question. I was like, dude, why haven't they fully declassified the fucking JFK shit? And he basically told me after 50 years, they pretty much declassify everything. To his knowledge, this is the only thing that's still classified 50 years later, 60 plus years later, after everyone is pretty much dead that was involved in that affair. They're all fucking gone.
Yeah.
But for some odd reason, they still have it classified, which means that something there is still would damage national security. And even Trump himself, I think he said on the interview, they said, hey, why didn't you declassify everything? And he's like, look, if you saw what I saw, you wouldn't declassify it either. What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
I mean, I think we know exactly what the fuck it means. It means the CIA and the fucking Mossad are implicated. It's like our greatest fucking ally killed our president. They're going to look like real fucking idiots acknowledging that our greatest ally, who we've been fucking pumping fucking, hundreds of billions and trillions of fucking dollars to, was responsible for killing our sitting fucking president. And then all of a sudden, our fucking aid to Israel is going to stop, and we can't have that. So, obviously, it tells you who the fuck is behind this country and who's running this shit. That's my problem, is who's running this fucking country.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's the people say the deep state all the time. Well, let's talk about the deep state. Who are some of these people? Like Henry Kissinger, Jew, right? You look at a lot of these people that are higher up in the government, etc. Everybody, if you look at the Secretary of Homeland Security right now, Mayorkas, Jew. You look at the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, Jew. It's how the fuck is it that they're involved at the highest levels of government, right? People on Biden's staff and his cabinet, a bunch of them are Jews. And the other thing too, what are your thoughts on politicians or people that have a clearance having dual citizenship with Israel? What's your thoughts on that?
I think you should unequivocally have to disclose it, and B, if you show any allegiance to another country ahead of the country that you are representing, that is fucking treason in my opinion. And they are all supporting Israel before America. We've signed things that Israel gets the fucking oil reserves before us. It's fucking craziness. The allegiance to Israel is not a fucking accident, and it is something that you would have to be a complete fucking retard not to see. I mean, if you're interested in politics, obviously the average fucking American walking down the street is, he gets indoctrinated by all this bullshit. But if you really
rumors
look
are
into
completely cucked for Israel, which is why it's so fucking important that guys like you, guys like Candace, Andrew, Tate, myself, obviously I'm not as big as some of you guys, but I think the more guys that come out here and talk about this shit, it's super important, man, because most Americans have no fucking clue about Jewish supremacy in the United States, and this is something that they've suppressed for years, And it's great that guys are coming out, like you, obviously at great personal expense. You've lost millions upon millions of dollars about this, but that just shows integrity. You can't grift about this shit. No one can ever call you a grifter. Yeah, you lose money doing this shit.
Yeah, you gain nothing from this. I mean, listen, what you gain from this is personal respect, and that's fucking it.
That's really it.
But look, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody has to fucking do it. And the bigger the person that does it, the more he's going to take the heat off all the other people. And it pushes, the limit of what's socially acceptable to talk about on this. And I think there's a lot of people that agree with me that just won't say it. And so the more people that come out and fucking say it,
I think the more courage it'll give other people, and either way, it'll get the message out there. It'll make people start looking. Look, you don't have to fucking take my word for this shit. I don't want you to. Like, go out and just do your own fucking research. Like, just start digging.
Google some of those things I just mentioned, guys. The Levant affair, JFK, Jonathan Pollard, because you mentioned spies, right? 9/11, dancing Israelis. You can Google all this stuff. The USS Liberty.
And by the way, Google is owned by Jewish people. Fucking AI is owned by Jewish people.
Yeah.
Like and they'll still tell you.
Yeah, they'll still tell you.
I mean, so with AI, there's definitely some fucking guardrails on there. But like, you could still find this stuff. And in fact, a lot of this
Did
stuff.
you use AI to like translate the Talmud, and you still got this stuff?
I put it in 5 times, and it fucking gave me a different answer every single time. And then I put in the exact word-for-word translation. It struck it as hate speech, but then told me that it was accurate. Like, it's fucking absurd.
And I love how when you were having this debate with him about the Talmud, he was like, oh, well, you got to look at it in context and all this other crap. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, that's a bunch of bullshit. They're trying to discredit what you're saying. It's like, it says there explicitly a bunch of stuff about Gentiles, Goyim, etc. Like, it is what it is. They just don't want to acknowledge it.
There's no misunderstanding that there's 2 sets of laws, and that Jews are better than other people according to their
They're the
scripture.
chosen people. They say it themselves.
So when you have that, the problem is then, and that is your, legal framework, is that you're better than other people. That produces very fucking bad results in the court system. And that's why these Palestinians have been so fucking persecuted, is because they can't ever get a fair shake, because they're, viewed as cattle. Well, if you shoot fucking cattle, people aren't going to get that mad at you. But if fucking cattle kills you, that fucking horse or that cow is going to be fucking put down. I can promise you that. So it's just, it dehumanizes people. And that's the big problem. That's what they did with the fucking Nazis. They said, every fucking Nazi is, the devil and this and that. It's like, most of those motherfuckers were just born in Germany.
Yeah.
And just like, U.S. soldiers, like everybody that fucking joins the U.S. Army is not going to be painted with one fucking brush. Every fucking Muslim is not a terrorist. Like, when you paint these people with these brushes, what it does is it dehumanizes these groups. And that's what, people rationalize in wars, is like, oh, they're evil, they're bad. It's like, think about how stupid you have to be to think everybody born in Germany was evil.
Yeah.
But then you got these fucking propaganda movies like Inglourious Bastards, where it's just like, let's torture every fucking German soldier. They're all fucking pieces of shit. Like, they're subhuman. Like, it's okay to torture them. It's okay to do all this stuff. And everybody in the theater is like, yeah, burn them alive, do all this stuff. It's like, these people are just born in Germany. Was there fucking scumbags in there? Of course. Like, did they do fucking bad things? Of course. Like, but most armies do. And what people don't understand is, like, most people are gray. Other than the fucking Israeli army, which seems to be just like black and white, just fucking bad. They're fucking constantly fucking killing women and children. Like, they're fucking shelling these buildings. Like, and they're saying that, their excuse, this one is great, that they're using the people, Hamas is using the people as human shields. Well, that's like saying there's a school shooter, so let's just blow up the fucking school because there's a bad guy in there. Or, some guy in fucking Compton robbed me, so let's just carpet bomb fucking Inglewood.
Yeah.
Because there's a bad guy there, so fuck it, let's just kill everybody.
And he's underground, so let's bomb above.
Yeah, fuck them all. Let's kill everybody and we'll get a bad guy. Like, is that how you're going to fight your fucking wars? Like, it's just craziness. And that's, and then look at what the first thing they did was they shut off the fucking food, water, and electricity to a fucking civilian population. Like, that is a war crime. Like, the way they've handled this is, it's like I said, it's just such a clear genocide. It's not a war. This is a fucking genocide, and we're funding it, and the world is watching.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude, because, like, this is the first time that we've seen, like, combat like this, and you're able to see what's going on Twitter. Like, you can see the kids getting blown up, and they don't show this on the main media. But, like, you look at Al Jazeera, you go on Twitter, which is why Twitter's, like, replacing a lot of these mainstream media things. You see dead kids all over the place. We're speaking of which, on Twitter, people are waking up, because I see, like, these big Israeli accounts will say something, and then you'll comment, like, fuck off, and, like, you'll ratio them every single time. So people are waking up, and these are big accounts. Like, you look at a guy like a Jordan Peterson, a Ben Shapiro, a lot of these guys that are super pro-Israeli, and someone like you or Nick Fuentes will comment underneath, and they instantly ratio them. And it's good to see people waking up, man, about Jewish supremacy in America.
Yeah, it shows that people are becoming more aware. I feel like since I've been posting, it's been moving the tide a bit.
No, dude, trust me, it definitely has. Like, guys like you, Candace, Andrew, myself, Sneeko, Nick Fuentes, Jake Shields, like, they're waking guys up. And here's the thing, all of us are fairly, right, more conservative in our views. And I think that this issue with Israeli influence in the United States, the conflict in Gaza, this is one of the few topics that, like, people on the right and people on the left actually agree on. It's like one of the few things.
Yeah, I think this is one of the things that could actually unify America.
Yeah, you're right. But I know, man, that you got some stuff you got to do. Dude, it was a great interview. It's always fucking awesome talking to you, Dan.
Pleasure.
Seriously, really is, man. Fucking keep fighting the fight, man. And like I said before, he's lost a lot of fucking money. I know exactly how much, but I don't want to say it on camera. But it's a lot of fucking money, man. And dude, we just need more guys like you that are brave, that got the fucking balls to tell the truth, regardless of how it might hurt you financially. So
Yep.
thank you for that, bro.
I'm in it.
Where can the people find you?
Just follow my Twitter. That's where I fucking post.
He's cooking on
That's
there,
my
guys.
name on Twitter, yeah.
Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on Instagram. Get in the Sigma Society, guys. Obviously, if you have issues with girls, one of the best guys to teach it. You know, he's aware of all this stuff. And yeah, he's got the social proof. Go look at his Instagram if you guys don't believe me. Dan, thank you so much, man, for coming on. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.